Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking at my desk setup. This is a 2018 setup. I have only basically finished it in the last 2 months, and yeah, let's get straight into it. So starting with the desk setup, this is a custom-made desk. It was done by one of my friends who is a carpenter. Previously before, there was a bookcase here, so I decided to take that out, and he's now fitted this sort of like oak desk. Really, really nice. I've had it in here for about 5 years. I've recently just freshened it up by sanding it down. Something that's also really handy with the desk is it has like slats between each wooden panel, allowing you to run cables down them, and it just keeps everything like really, really neat and tidy. So the main driver, or the main unit that powers this setup, is my 2017 MacBook Pro. It's the late 2017 model. It's fairly spec'd up. It's not maxed out, but for what that I do, which is mainly video editing, it's more than capable. I will just quickly run through the specs for people that are interested. It's a MacBook Pro 15-inch with touch bar, late 2017 model, 2.9 GHz Intel Core i7, 16 gig of RAM, and it has a 500 GB hard drive. I previously had a iMac before. I was really impressed with how it performed, and I'm used to using Final Cut Pro as well as my main editing software. So there was really no need to sort of go to Windows or anything like that. I know that Windows, you can usually get a lot more bang for your buck, but I'm also part of the Apple ecosystem. Gay! I've got an Apple Watch. I've recently just bought the HomePod, which unfortunately I'm not actually using that much. But yeah, and I've also got an iPhone, and everything just really like binds together and works really well, so that's my reasons. I was considering getting the iMac Pro, which has been out for around 6 months, but I also thought that it may be better to get a MacBook just so I can actually edit and do work on the move, as well as coming back to the desk and using the full real estate of the monitor I've got, which I'll get into shortly. So friends of mine and people that are subscribed to the channel and my Instagram are fully aware that I completely dig space grey. The theme that I'm going for on the desk setup is mostly like a wooden vibe with a space grey sort of like metal sort of tech. I've bought lots of accessories and things like that that are all sort of based around being space grey, which we'll get into later in the video. So the main focal point on this desk setup, which is probably the same for every desk setup, is the monitor. This is the HP Envy 34 widescreen monitor. It's a Quad HD monitor, so 2K. It's not full 4K, but it's 34 inches wide, and for the kind of space that I've got, it's perfect. I've always wanted a widescreen monitor. After having the 27-inch iMac, I really couldn't go back to anything smaller. And after using this for video editing, having that real estate and having the timeline so big just makes like editing so much nicer, so much more sort of seamless, and it just works really, really well. Another great thing about it is obviously having several screens open at once. Multitasking is effortless. I was also concerned that the MacBook would like maybe struggle just having several applications open, but it does it without any trouble at all. So the combination of the monitor and the MacBook Pro is really good. A lot of people haven't seen this monitor before. I think it's only been reviewed twice on YouTube, one by Jonathan Morrison and another guy that I can't remember his name, but Jonathan Morrison's sort of like desk setup that he'd done a while back basically sold me the monitor. I just wanted something that was a little different. I feel this thing looks really sleek. So it also comes with built-in Bang & Olufsen speakers. I am a huge B&O fan. I'll admit it, and I'll take any hate in the comments. I am a B&O fanboy, big time. I've got so many speakers by Bang & Olufsen, and I've kind of got this bug where I just can't stop like collecting them. And then when I found out that there was a monitor available with them built in, I was like, yeah, I have to get this. I have to get this monitor. But after using it for a while, I will be completely honest, I'm not gonna be biased just because I love Bang & Olufsen. the speakers in this monitor are not that great. They really are not worth the hype. Jonathan Morrison said that like it was worth like, you know, not getting speakers for a setup. I completely disagree. Like, admittedly, they are very clear and it's got this quite nice, like punchy sort of sound to it, but I think it's more like a built-in sort of equalizer than actually Bang & Olufsen using their components. It's kind of just like a over punchy, over hyped up sound. Having the badge there, yeah, it kind of looks cool, but if you want this monitor and you want it because of the sound, I really wouldn't get your hopes up, because the sound is just not, it's not what I expected. It's also a curved monitor, which does create this really nice immersive feel, especially with it being in such a small area. As soon as you're actually at this desk setup, there's nowhere else you can look, and yeah, you are in. If you're in a video edit, you are in that edit, and it's like, yeah, it's great. I really do like it. Screen quality is really good. The colours are really nice. It's just got a hefty price tag. I think I paid about £800, and that was on an offer. You might be able to find it cheaper, but as I say, it's not a very popular monitor, so you may struggle like to find one. So moving to the keyboard, I've had this keyboard for around 6 months. Before I had the K811 or K810, which is Logitech. This is the Logitech Craft. It is such a good keyboard. It's Bluetooth, wireless, and it's got this really cool sort of dial on the top where it's great for photo editing and video editing. You can scroll along the timeline using it, zoom in on the timeline, zoom out on the timeline, and it does have various other functions which are programmable as well. And another thing that's quite fitting with the keyboard is that the top bar of it is actually space grey. Also the keys are illuminated, and the keys will actually light up as soon as you just hover your hands over the keyboard, which is a really nice touch. The Logitech Craft also has a easy switch function on it, which enables you to change Bluetooth devices really quickly. So I've got one program to the Mac and I've got two programmed to my TV. And to accompany the Logitech Craft is the Logitech MX Master 2. You've probably seen both the Craft and the MX Master 2 on so many desk setups. I think the main reason is just because they are great. They're just really usable. This also, you probably have noticed, is in like a space grey theme, so it does like sit with the desk really well. Another thing, it's got lots of shortcut buttons on it just to help aid with productivity and getting that workflow nice and consistent. So for a mouse mat, we have the Satechi space grey aluminium mouse mat. This was just bought on Amazon. It was space grey. It's okay. Like, if I could really like finish it off, I wouldn't have, I'm so picky, I wouldn't have the chamfered polished edge. I would just have it a completely cut off edge, but it was the only space grey mouse mat I could find that was like half affordable, so I decided to go for that. It does look cool on the desk and I'm quite pleased with it. I've also got myself a little slate coaster here, just thought it goes in with that space grey vibe, you know what I'm saying? So I've also got two USB hub adapters. These, of course, are also in space grey, and I bought these from a company called Dodo Cool. They were super cheap, super affordable, and I remember I bought one product of theirs, was really happy with it, and then just decided to just buy a load more. And yeah, it works really well. It looks clean, it's built well, and it just makes the desk setup, like, finishes it off really well. The top left over here is a USB-A hub. There's 4 USB ports, and there is also a USB-C port on the end. And just here, directly behind me, is another USB hub. This has 2 USB ports, an SD card slot, and a micro SD card slot. Having the hubs mounted solidly on the desk really helps for productivity, and like I say, everything that's been put on this desk is just purely for workflow and just trying to get things done efficiently as possible. So moving directly behind me, you can't actually see it, but I'll show you a clip of it now, is the Nanoleaf Aurora. This was bought by Beth, my girlfriend. I would have bought one of these, but they are so expensive and I just couldn't justify the price. And then she gave it to me for a birthday present. I was like, yes, goddamn, good times. And yeah, awesome bit of kit. And like, it just really makes this this part of the room just really pop, and it just looks like a focal point and really makes this part of the room stand out, and I just love it, and I'm so glad that I put it in this part here. So the Nanoleaf Aurora can also be controlled on your smartphone There's also just like a little button at the bottom here, so if I did want to just turn it off at the desk, I can just hit that and it turns off. Apart from one panel. Yeah, you can control the lights from an app. I can also control them from my Amazon Alexa, show your face, and also control them from HomePod. It's HomeKit enabled. There's also 4 downlighters which are pointing down on top of the monitor. When I first bought these, which was from IKEA, they worked really, really well, and now for some reason I've not taken them out because it's just going to create an absolute mess. But they've been in there for around 5 years and I've got no intention of actually taking them out. There's also a really cheap LED strip on the back which you can change the colours, turn on and off. So the depths of like the desk, how things actually all work and how everything's plumbed together, I will go into that. If you're not interested, skip to this number on the screen and we will continue. So as I said before, the main powerhouse of this, everything that's running this, is a MacBook Pro. Now the MacBook Pro is actually stored in this sort of tray which I've mounted myself underneath the desk. Before people say in the comments, like for editing and stuff, about the MacBook Pro overheating, it doesn't overheat. I was concerned myself, but fortunately I've done some seriously demanding like 4K footage and rendered, and it does get hot, but it doesn't get so hot where I think like, shit, something's gonna actually break here. I've also drilled holes in the back, and also there are gaps in the wooden desk, so any heat can just rise out. I really didn't want the MacBook Pro on the actual desk itself because like there is no space for it here. I mean, I could have probably tucked it in the corner, but then it wouldn't look as clean as I'd like it to be. So I really thought like just sitting underneath the desk in this little tray was a good idea. So the tray is held on these runners, as you can see. All the cables and everything are nicely tidied up underneath. There's only 3 cables going into the MacBook Pro for this entire desk setup. There is one for the monitor, which is a USB-C port, which is great. There's another for the USB-A hub that I was talking about earlier, and another for the other USB hub, which is on the underside of the desk. Yeah, it's really nice and clean, and once I've like got everything plumbed in, I just pop those 3 cables in, and then I can tuck it back in. Now, you are probably wondering, what about the power cable for the MacBook Pro? How do you actually power it? The great thing is about the HP monitor is that it actually charges the MacBook, whilst also having doing a bunch of other things. As well as it charging, obviously it displays the image on the screen, the audio, and it also pushes data through that cable as well. So to keep things really clean and also like minimalist, if you like, hung on the back of this monitor is a 1TB Samsung T3 solid state drive. This is like the go-to drive, if you've probably seen on YouTube, that everyone's using for video editing. And I've just got this hung with a Velcro strip on the back of the monitor. So every single time that I plug into this, I have got basically 1.5 gigs of memory. So I've got the 500 on the MacBook, and then I've got the 1TB on the SSD. The reason why I Velcro stripped it to the back, it just means that if I do need to take it with me, I can just quickly pull it off, leave the cable in place, and yeah, so I actually saw Jonathan Morrison do that with his, and it was on this video, and I just thought like, that's such a good idea. So there's actually 2 USB-A ports in the back of this monitor. I've got one for the Samsung solid state drive, and I've got another one which is the Logitech unifying adapter. So that means that the Logitech Craft keyboard and the MX Master 2 are not actually using Bluetooth to pair to the MacBook. They're using the USB dongle which is on the back. I find that the mouse and the keyboard just actually respond a lot quicker through that unifying adapter and not Bluetooth, so that's why I went for it. Obviously you can also see like there's like no cables. If you look really closely, yeah, you can see them, but you know, I'd done like the best job I could to try and like hide them all. Looking underneath the desk, I have tried to keep everything like stuck up and like kept up, propped up underneath the desk to keep it real nice and clean down below. I do store a few things under here, like my camera bag and like my slider and things like that. So yeah, everything's mounted up underneath. So underneath the desk setup, there is a Dodo Cool 6-way UK plug adapter, which also has 2 USB ports. This again was from Dodo Cool, and like for plug adapters, is it weird to say that it kind of looks clean? So there's two more things on the desk setup that I still need to talk about, which I've not mentioned. The first one being this thing here. I think I'm like probably one of the first people that you'll find on YouTube that has this in a desk setup. Bang & Olufsen as a product, although they're very high end, they don't seem to be very popular on the YouTube sort of game. Like whenever you try and research or find out anything about the latest Bang & Olufsen product on YouTube, there's just no videos on it, which is a shame because, I mean, I think they're great. Their technical support's not so good, and their apps that they do and all that sort of stuff, yeah, that's not so good. But like the sound that the speakers produce is just like next level. Personally, I'm probably gonna get a bunch of hate for it, but I'll take it. I'll take it well. I'll take it well. So what is this thing? So basically it is a Bluetooth remote that is for my Beoplay A6, which is like at the other side of the room. This allows me to turn up the volume, skip tracks, play, pause, and change the source as well. Instead of like controlling the volume levels on the Mac, I can just literally, when I'm at the desk, just go over here, turn the dial up and down, and yeah, it's really cool. And the same with when I'm using my phone as well. If I've AirPlayed it from my phone and I've got some other music playing on here or whatever, I can again just like adjust the volume. I don't need to go to my phone. And yeah, that accessory from Bang & Olufsen is like spot on. Again, it's ridiculously expensive. I managed to get mine on eBay for, I think it was about 80 quid, which is cheap. I think they retail at like 250. God damn it, Bang & Olufsen, you are so expensive. I'm a bad man, and Beth will completely agree, my girlfriend. She knows I'm a bad man, but then every single time I actually buy one of their speakers and I just play it to her, she's like, shit, yeah, that's really good. And then she's like, oh, can we try this song on it? And she's like really into grime and stuff. So she'll play this like dirty, bassy track, and she's jacked. She's loving it because, yeah, obviously, good bass produces like really good sound. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. This is not about Bang & Olufsen speakers. This is about this desk setup. The Logitech Pop is the last thing to talk about on the desk setup. So the Logitech Pop is like a smart home enabled device where if you tap it in different sequences, it will cause different bits of tech and home stuff to work in your house. And this is dependent on how you've programmed it. But I've got mine programmed so when you hit it once, it causes all of my hue lights to come on and off. If I double tap it, it will turn my TV on. And if I press and hold, this is where I've got it programmed where it will turn on the overhead lights and the back strip on the back. So whenever I come across it, I can literally just hold the button, it'll turn that light off and the overhead light. Okay, I think we've basically covered everything. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I really enjoyed doing it. If you were interested in what camera I used, a link of all the equipment that I used is going to be in the description, and there also will be a link of everything on this desk setup in the description as well. If there's anything that you would like to know about the setup or anything you feel I've missed, then please just put a comment down below and I'll get back to you like within the day. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerio. Yeah, I did just say cheerio, yeah. You've got side scrollers also for scribing. So moving directly behind me, here is the, oh shit. It's good. I've got loads of other USB-C. I've got loads of USB at the desk. I can just hit that and it turns off. Apart from one panel, which is not what's meant to happen. Not gonna lie, it's the first time that's happened. So there's also 4 downlighters which are pointing down. It looks great to me. I am colourblind, but I am actually colourblind though. You should hear a beep. Ready? There you go. You did see that. It did turn off. No, it didn't. It didn't bloody turn off. It changed colour. Shit on it.